Yuri happily shares that they passed the exam, and Guard agrees, saying he is happy for both of them. While celebrating their success, everyone can't help but stare at them. Guard notices that Noble Boy is staring at him intently. With a blank expression, Guard asks if Noble Boy has something to say to him. The Noble Boy, in frustration, cursed while muttering that Guard was just fortunate. Meanwhile, Guard looks at Yuri and asks if something is wrong. She seems troubled as she stares at her hands. Yuri recalls the exam and realizes that she might not fail it, but she wonders that the book also burns the same way as what happened to Guard. So she concluded, that is the power of muscle. Guard, a bit stunned, hesitantly agrees. Guard says, that's all for today's test, and then asks Yuri if she can make it home by herself. Yuri replies, yes, and says she'll see him again tomorrow. Guard plans to head home as well, but notices a girl running. She's running quickly, breathing heavily as she dodges some students, all while shouting angrily. She bumps into Guard. He is shocked, while the girl is enraged. They both fall on the floor. Guard worriedly asks if she's okay. A bit hurt, but she replies that she's fine. She then notices the room and asks Guard if she is in the right place and if this is the magic experimentation room. Guard replies that yes, she's in the right place. The girl is very happy to hear that. She thanks Guard and introduces herself as Sasha, adding that they might see each other again soon. Guard also introduced himself. Sasha agrees and responds that it was nice meeting him. Guard thinks it's been a while since he's met such an energetic girl and feels that her energy is somewhat contagious. The next day, Sasha is calling for Guard as they both walk to the academy. She mentions that they've met again, and Guard greets her with a good morning. Sasha asks if they can walk together. Guard answers sure. Meanwhile, Yuri sees them with a grumpy look, leaving both Guard and Sasha confused. Yuri looked at Sasha and asked who she was, and why she's with Guard. Sasha looks to Guard for help and asks, who's this girl? Guard, a bit hesitant, introduces Yuri to Sasha, explaining that Yuri is his friend. Yuri, with a sparkle in her eyes, is happy to hear this. She's very happy because she didn't have any friends before. Sasha, feeling clueless about the situation, tells Guard that it seems like Yuri likes him a lot. Guard is bewildered by this. In one of the rooms, the examiners announce that they are about to start the second test, which is the practical test, where they will showcase their strongest magic. Yuri is a bit nervous, while Guard and Sasha are excited about it. The examiners instruct everyone to stand in line, signaling that the exam is about to begin. Yuri cheers Sasha to do her best, and Sasha responds with a yes, hoping they both pass the exam. Yuri also cheers for Guard, and Guard is pleased to see that Yuri and Sasha are getting along. While in the queue, Guard wonders what kind of magic the other examiners will use. As he observes, he notices that some use fire magic, others use water magic, and there are also those who use lightning and ice magic. These are all mid-tier magic spells. Guard ponders that, given it is supposed to be the world's best magic school, they should be using higher-level magic spells. Like transition magic, which is the one he used to travel to Vermilion. It's like a space portal. Then the examiner calls for Guard, signaling that it is now his turn to showcase his magic. The examiner is unimpressed and surprised that a commoner like Guard passed the first test. Other examinees comment that the second exam will be impossible for a commoner to pass. However, someone recalls that Guard burned the book in the first test. Another person adds that Guard might actually be strong. The examiner, still unimpressed, yawns and tells Guard to start anytime. Guard prepares for his magic, thinking that they might question what he will show, but he doesn't intend to hold back. Proudly, Guard decides to use a spell that is higher than mid-tier and even higher than high-tier, aiming to demonstrate the highest tier of magic. Guard raises both hands in the air. Sasha notices a shift in the atmosphere as Guard slowly increases the size of his magic circle. With a determined expression, Guard unleashes his magic, Hellfire, which soars into the sky and can even be seen outside the Magic Academy. Observed by everyone, the examiner stands at the center, feeling both the pressure and the overwhelming power of Guard's highest tier magic spell. Guard proudly thought that it should be sufficient to pass. Then he noticed that the examiner remained motionless and speechless. Guard questioned why he wasn't saying anything. Guard began to think that maybe the spell wasn't sufficient. He snapped his fingers and cast Ground Break, a spell that, as the name suggests, splits the ground open and creates a deep fissure. Everyone nearby ran to avoid falling. The other examinees were a mix of shock and terror, but the examiner remained standing, unreactive. Guard, puzzled by this, thought that Ground Break might still not be enough. To be sure, Guard decided to try one more time with another high-tier spell. Kneeling and touching the ground, he summoned a massive magic circle. He activated the spell Life Gift, which illuminated the entire area. Everyone was still in shock from the Ground Break spell when another spell was cast. Sasha heard a sound resembling an earthquake as the ground began to shake. The fissure created by Ground Break suddenly closed with tremendous force. Gradually, the ground settled. Small plants began to sprout, with some turning into grass and others into flowers. A tree also grew. Soon after, animals like rabbits appeared as if from nowhere. Some examinees were regaining their balance, while others remained on the ground. In the middle of the academy, a tree, grass, and rabbits had appeared, a result of Life Gift, which is a high-tier magic spell that creates life. Creating life from nothing is a highly advanced spell. Guard believed it should be more than enough to pass. When he saw the examiner collapse, he was taken aback. The fellow examinees were amazed by Guard's magic, shouting and cheering in excitement. They commented on how incredible Guard was, with some questioning who he was. The examiner regained consciousness, visibly shocked and speaking with a faltering voice, declaring that Guard had passed. Guard sighed in relief and turned his attention to Yuri, who was currently demonstrating her magic spell with another examiner observing her. Yuri recalled her memories and the reason she entered the academy, to prove herself to her father. Her hands trembled with fear, but she remembered Guard, who had helped her and given her courage. She resolved to face all challenges head-on. Yuri conjured a massive fireball, which shocked both her and the examiner. Guard looked on with pride at her accomplishment. The examiner remarked on the surprising firepower of Yuri's spell, despite it being a basic magic spell, and concluded that she had passed. Yuri was thrilled by the news. Sasha commented that Guard was pretty amazing. Guard, a bit bewildered, replied that she should have seen such spells before, given her noble background. Sasha quickly responded that no one had ever seen magic spells like those before. Guard thought that nobles would be familiar with high-tier magic and considered that he might need to reassess his perception. He wondered if magic technology had declined since his previous life as the strongest sage. Realizing this, Guard understood that the examiner was simply speechless from shock and concluded that he might have overdone it. Meanwhile, other examinees continued to showcase their magic. A familiar face appeared. As the examiner, he commented that he had done well and that it was enough for him to pass. It was Lodo, the son of Count Trey, for whom Guard had previously worked as a butler. Still laughing arrogantly, Lodo declared that the task was just easy and that Guard had passed. Walking through the academy corridor, Lodo proudly thought that his magic was first class, holding up even in the world's best magic academy. He furiously recalled Guard's blank response to his magic, feeling enraged that a mere commoner had dared to mock him. He vowed to show everything he had the next time they crossed paths, ensuring that Guard would completely obey him. Lodo, with a spiteful grin, vowed to utterly defeat Guard the next time they meet. While Guard and the group were happily chatting, Sasha said that it was fine as long as they passed, and that was what truly mattered. The examiner congratulates everyone who passed the second test. Without further delay, he announces the start of the third test. Everyone who passed, including Guard, Yuri, and Sasha, is now ready to begin. The examiner announces that they will be holding a tournament battle among the examinees. He explains that they must use their magic in a series of duels to achieve victory. Those who reach the final 16 will pass the test. Guard thought that with 100 people remaining, winning 3 times would guarantee his passage to the next stage. The examiner casts a magic spell, providing them with their tournament brackets. He indicates that the battles will be divided across multiple arenas until the third round. All examinees are instructed to head to their assigned arenas now that they've received the papers showing their brackets. Guard felt relieved, realizing that he wouldn't have to face Yuri or Sasha until they reached the top 16. Sasha, excitedly, says they should give their all, while Yuri adds that they will pass the exam together. They then all head to their respective arenas. As the first round begins, it's Guard versus Riddle, the arrogant noble boy from the second test. While Guard starts to prepare, Riddle stands confidently, showing no signs of concern. As the battle begins, Riddle mocks Guard for still being in the exam and accuses him of being too full of himself for a commoner. Despite Riddle's taunts, Guard ignores him and asks the referee if they can start. The referee, who also monitored Guard during the second test, now looks at him with a sense of pride. Riddle is frustrated at how Guard ignores him. The referee explains the rules. The winner will be declared when either party surrenders or if the referee determines that one of them is unable to continue. With that, the referee commands the battle to begin. In just a second, Guard casts Water Blast, a water magic that overwhelms Riddle. Riddle doesn't even get a chance to react. Guard stands victorious as Riddle lies unconscious on the ground. The other examiners and examinees, who witnessed the match, were stunned. The referee, having anticipated the outcome, is pleased for Guard. He declares Guard the winner of the first round. Guard then wonders if he might have overdone it. On the far side, behind a door, someone is watching and seems a bit surprised to see Guard. It is revealed that this boy is Lodo, who also took the exam. As Lodo watches Guard, he grins, pleased to have found him there. He resentfully declares that it's going to be fun. On the other side of the academy, in a different arena, Yuri wins her battle. Meanwhile, Sasha is delighted as the examiner declares her the winner of her bracket. As the exam continues, each winners advance to the next rounds. With the pleasant weather, the third round begins. It's Guard versus Lodo. In Guard's mind, he thinks that the situation is worse than he anticipated. He didn't expect Lodo to be among the examinees. Lodo arrogantly remarks that he's stunned by how clueless Guard seems and questions whether Guard is wandering the academy because he has nowhere else to go. Lodo approaches Guard and says that they are at the world's greatest magic academy, suggesting that Guard should leave. He arrogantly adds that this place is not for someone who is worse than trash. Lodo continues his insults, grabbing Guard's tie and drawing everyone's attention. He loudly declares that Guard, a foolish commoner, must have been quite a nuisance to everyone. Lodo declares that Guard was once a servant employed by their household, but was so useless that he was banished from their territory. Guard stands silently, not responding to Lodo's words. Lodo, looking at Guard, adds that Guard likely only made it this far out of pity, but he will show no mercy to someone he considers trash. Lodo declares that he will take responsibility by crushing Guard, and ultimately proclaims that he will banish Guard from the academy as well. Lodo, feeling very proud of himself, spitefully looks at Guard. Guard remains silent and does not respond. The people around are somewhat shocked by the scene. The examiner comments that the battle should begin. Lodo, still arrogant, advises the examiner to keep his distance, claiming that he cannot guarantee the examiner's safety. The examiner is taken aback by Lodo's words. After a moment, he announces that the battle will begin. Without wasting any time, Lodo quickly attacks Guard with his magic spell, Fireball. Lodo claims that this is his most powerful attack, and that it will take Guard down in a single strike. But Guard doesn't seem to care. As the fireball inches closer, he calmly raises his hand and catches it effortlessly, as if it were nothing. Lodo is utterly shocked. He has no idea what's happening. His fireball simply vanished as if it were nothing. Lodo, still in shock, exclaims that Guard destroyed his fireball with just his bare hands. The examiner watches Guard with the pride of a father. Meanwhile, Lodo, frustrated, demands to know how Guard managed to stop his fireball. Guard doesn't respond and simply feels his hands. Then, he calmly calls Lodo by his name. A shiver runs down Lodo's spine, and fear begins to creep over him. Guard's expression turns menacing, and his aura shifts, becoming as dark as the shadows themselves. He asks Lodo if that's all he's got. Lodo, terrified, can barely respond. Lodo loses control and starts hurling multiple fireballs at Guard, shouting frantically. He believes that with so many attacks, he's bound to hit Guard. Guard, with a serious expression, tells Lodo that he hasn't learned anything. Then, with a single, effortless motion, he chops through all the fireballs with just his hand. Lodo's fireballs vanish instantly, as if they were nothing. Seeing what Guard has done, Lodo's legs tremble and shake. Overwhelmed and unable to process the situation, he fearfully approaches Guard and suggests that Guard stop resisting and just surrender. Lodo, sweating profusely and trembling with fear, adds that he'll allow Guard to return to work for their family. He promises to ask his father, Count Trey, to reinstate Guard. Desperately, he asks Guard if that isn't a good offer. Guard considers the offer for a moment. Lodo, trying to sound confident, insists that it's a well-made offer and is sure that Guard will accept it. But Guard responds that he declines the offer. As he prepares to attack, he invokes a magic spell, causing small flames to appear. Lodo is left in shock by this turn of events. Guard unleashes the spell, casting a Figuera ball. As it approaches, Lodo mutters in confusion, questioning why Guard is using the same magic as him. He is also bewildered by why it looks so different. Frightened, Lodo quickly activates a defensive barrier magic, smirking as he thinks it will be enough to stop Guard's fireball. However, his shield shatters under the force of the attack. With a look of despair on his face, Lodo is hit by the fireball and thrown against the wall with immense force. Overwhelmed by the impact, he loses consciousness and collapses to the ground. The examiner checks Lodo and finds that he is unconscious and unable to continue. With pride, the examiner declares Guard the winner. The other examinees are once again shocked by Guard's performance. Guard, reflecting on the event, feels that he may have overdone it. He realizes he went to such lengths just to teach Lodo a lesson. Lodo, now conscious but still on the ground, shakes with humiliation and defeat. He is devastated to have lost to someone he considers beneath contempt. Meanwhile, in Count Trey's territory, something surprising is unfolding. Count Trey looks outside with shock, unable to believe what he is witnessing. Count Trey recalls the day they banished Guard and remembers Guard's words about not skipping work. He reflects on how Guard truly did eliminate the monsters that plagued the town. Count Trey now realizes that Guard was telling the truth. As destruction continues due to the monsters, he recognizes that many of these creatures began appearing only after Guard was banished. With a stressed expression and gritted teeth, Count Trey acknowledges that he needs to bring Guard back. Unfortunately, that's all the chapter we have for now. I'll update you when a new chapter is released. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you next time.